Hey everybody, it is Lenice, the remix coach. All right, so this is a different type of video than I normally do, although I do tackle issues on this channel. But I want to talk about, I work regularly at in elementary schools, right? So I want to talk directly about elementary school age Black children, right? Black teachers and educators are so important. All educators are important, but when we're dealing with Black children, it's so important to have teachers and staff who look like you. Not limited to, but who look like you for a lot of different reasons. And I'll talk about some of the others maybe in another video. But for this video, I really want to talk about elementary school from kindergarten through 5th grade who directly tell me they have anger issues. A lot of the boys, but some of the girls too. They talk about and they say, I have anger issues. I'm going to end up being, in jail one day probably. That's just the way it is. And one of them I asked, who told you that? Did someone tell you that? Or is this something that you think or you saw? He was like, no, nobody told me that, but I will. And I was like, no, you won't. We're not going to speak that over your life. I tell them all the time, you're kings and queens. Act appropriately as such. Like, don't allow your emotions and anger and all of those things. So now you have the group that tell me they have anger issues. Then you see little babies, kindergartners, 1st graders. I literally just had a 1st grader who just was like, I have anger issues. I see them act like that all the time. Someone can do the slightest thing to them, whether they take their crayon box or whether they're deciding who's going to pass out papers. Okay, whether some of them say, this person said they don't like me, or this person said that they don't like my hair. And this thing with elementary school and hairlines, even the little kids, oh, he talked about my hairline. He said something about my hairline, and they're ready to go to blows. They're ready to fight. They're ready to act out. They're ready to not listen. They're like, actively. Trust me, if somebody would have told me this and me not see it with my own eyes, I don't know how much of it I would have believed. I see it day in and day out from 5 years old to 11 years old. And I'm so afraid, and I'm keeping them in prayer, because if they continue on this path of anger and not knowing how to handle their emotions healthy and appropriately, they are going to be in big trouble. Whether they're later going to be employees or having their own companies, whether they have health concerns or issues, whether they have difficulties relating in relationships, whether they're going to give their parents a hard time through life. A 5th grader dropped a 5th grader off. The mother did, and he was literally fighting his mother. And some of the white staff was like, man, mom, don't do anything. I know he's hitting you, let it. One of the Black male teachers was like, let me get with him. You better not talk. And he talked to him directly. Listen, we don't hit our moms, and we don't, and it's a different approach. And sometimes you do have to be harder within guidelines. When I say harder, I mean speaking realness to them. And it's so important to speak life into them and tell them where they're going wrong and what kind of mistakes they're making, instead of just saying, it's going to be okay for now. We're going to go into the counselor's office. I sent someone who was arguing to the counselor's office, and I waited to the last moment of the day because they were disruptive all day, and I spent all day trying to reason, trying to talk, trying to be honest, and it just 2 little boys were just getting out of hand, so I had to send to the counselor's office. I sent to the counselor's office this young boy, And I went past the counselor's office and he was in there playing basketball. So we have to be able to, and I've talked to young girls about different things. And I said, well, have you gone to the counselors? No, because they really don't do. And I sit there and I talk. I know so much about some of these children and what they have to deal with throughout life. This is not an inner city thing too, because that's a stereotype. They must be inner city kids. They must be poor. They must be from this kind of neighborhood. No, these are well-to-do parents, if not well-to-do, comfortable financially. Kids are clean. Kids hair done, braids every 6 weeks or whatever, the latest clothes, the latest sneakers, the apparel, all of the accoutrement from the outside, and I'm sure even in the inside, because they're good parents that we're working with, right? So then you have these kids. It's like, as a life coach and as an educator, like trying to bridge the gap to really have these real conversations. Some on medication, some not. Some they say maybe need to be on medication, some not. Some with IEP, some with 504 plans, some not. Some with tragedy and, parents and grandparents and different relatives passing away because of COVID or because of old age or because of whatever happened. One kid told me, he was in the first grade. He said he's dealing with so much because his favorite uncle died and then this person died. This person's father's in jail. Several are in jail, that they've talked to. What do your parents say? Well, I only got my mom at home because my dad's in jail. He never been there. Or I got to leave from school early because we go to visit my dad in jail at this time. Or I'm not coming to school because I have to, deal with this or deal with that. I mean, these kids are carrying heavy burdens that you could not even think of. When I talk to some of them, mind blown. So when we're talking about anger, and then some you don't know surfacely, like, why are they so angry? Why are they so upset? Why do they actively show? Because this is a difference. These are young kids still, where the boys are crying. They haven't been told boys aren't supposed to cry. Man up there. They haven't. They cry all the time. They're very sensitive. They're very emotional, both the girls and the boys. The girls, I noticed with the girls, it's that whole, I can't come to school because, I'm getting my hair done and my mom said I can't come to school with my hair looking like this, or I don't like my hair today, or she did this, or she copied me. And I told a couple of girls yesterday, I said, well, consider yourself a leader or influencer. They know that language. And second grade, I'm like, consider yourself an influencer, even though you're crying because she copied you, but she wants to do the same things you do. Consider that a compliment, so it's different on the levels of the young girls. It's different for the boys. And then some of it is the same. He did this, she did this, they said this, they took this, they're not going to do this, they called me ugly, they said something about my hairline. You guys know elementary school kids, they tattle all day. And when I say tattle, I mean little stuff, not something major. Something major happens, yes, you need to talk about it, you need to say it. But if someone looked at your paper, they looked at my paper and said my M was wrong, let's see how we can handle that. Let's see what we can talk about. Is that affecting your M? Is it wrong? No, it's right. Then let's try not to allow that to affect you, because you're doing such amazing work. Look at you, look at this. And I try to affirm them as much as possible. I try to build them up as much as possible and instill values and morals and ethics in them. It's so important to me to do that with these young Black boys and girls, and all of them for that matter, because even when we have non-Black children, I treat them the same, because you never know what's happening or what they've been through. So it's just so, I was talking to a teacher today and I was just like, I wonder with Black adults and the racism and everything that's going on, right? And we talk about trauma and experiencing that since slavery and since, coming up, throughout the years with different things. And a lot of Black people will, I don't want to say blame, but that's just a loose word, blame what's happening now based off of certain things. But then I said, I wonder what some of maybe the Black teachers and staff or the non-Black think of some of these children and this behavior. Like, I wonder what their conversations are like, because there's some great teachers here, great educators here, and some who really could not teach Black children quit. They did. And of course, they didn't say, I can't teach Black children. Is you can see the buildup, and you can see how some of them respond or not know how to respond. And then you could see some of the Black children taking advantage, because I act like a mama in the classroom. I do. I'm like, you're not supposed to be doing that. What are you doing? Get it together. I expect more from you. You're kings and queens. You can't act like this. Your parents work too hard. I see that they take good care of you. What do you think that they would say that you're acting in this manner? And then you see some of them that act completely opposite. And it's so unfortunate sometimes, because there are some amazing children who really are ready to learn. And it's so disruptive and distracting when some of the students are sitting there trying to work, and then you got all of this chaos over here, all this commotion over here, all of these emotions over here. It's so much to try to juggle and manage. I always say teachers need to get paid. And I say this even in my book. Teachers need to get paid the same amount or more than NBA players, because I don't think some people know what teachers really deal with in the classroom. And my daughter is a teacher as well, and she teaches. She's the only Black teacher in her school, and she teaches 99.9% white children. And sometimes when so I love the fact, because this was one of her intern schools and they wanted to hire her, but I love the fact that she goes into the school unapologetically who she is, whether she has braids, whether she's wearing her hair natural, curly, and the white children get to see the flip side. The white children get to see a Black teacher and know that Black people are more than what they may see on television and movies. And then they're able to ask questions, and she has Black books there, with Black authors, children's books, and all of that. So I think it's so important. But you have no idea, if you are a non-educator or non-teacher in the school system, what's really going on in the school and what we deal with. Some of y'all parents know, and that's why you be like, oh, I'm glad they're at school. But sometimes it's so difficult, especially if you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 in the classroom who are going through something. Because I really think that it's something going on inside, or something happening on the outside as far as circumstance. Whether someone's sick, someone's passing away, parents get divorced. We've had, some with domestic issues with small kids. There's so many different things. And people just assume that these things happen in impoverished, low income, inner city schools. And that's not the case. School I'm at, they got big old iPad screens in every classroom on wheels. You can write on them. Every child has a computer. The school is beautiful on the inside and out. They have all the books, all the tools they need, and all of that has nothing to do with, and I don't like to say behavioral issues, because sometimes it's really not. Some of it's behavioral, some of it's medical, some of it's emotional and mental wellness, but some of it is truly circumstantial, like things that they're going through. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors in homes, whether, like I said, people are sick or hurting, or a parent lost their job. And kids pick up certain things that people might not realize they pick up. Or the child might be going through something internally as far as feelings and not knowing how to express them. So they emote them in a way sometimes that's not healthy, that appears maybe disruptive, or they call them bad. I never like to call a child bad, because I truly believe, and I never have, because I truly believe kids are people too. And they got stuff, and they got real stuff. And the stuff that they feel and talk about is so real to them. It's not kiddie stuff where we might be like, that's all he said. He did that. Like, girl, get over it. Boy, get over it. You know, in your mind as an adult, that's what you know, what you think automatically. But we have to understand and use different ways to approach the situation, because if it's real to them, then it's real to me. And I approach it that way. Like, I understand that hurts your feelings. I understand you shouldn't say that. There's nothing ugly about you. You are beautiful. You are smart. You are intelligent. Look at you. You know, I kind of flip it, but I first validate their feelings because it's so important. So I just wanted to do this video, whether one person or 1 million people see this video. I just wanted to give you a little insight of what's going on in elementary school with elementary school age children. And like I started this video, a lot of children have emotional and anger issues, and I'm not sure where they get it from as far as the dialogue, as far as the verbiage, but they literally say, I have anger issues, and they walk around like, if he says one more thing, and these are little kids. Little kids. This is not junior high school. This is not high school. These are little kids, some as young as 5. If they say one more thing to me, oh my God, I don't care if I end up in jail. I don't care if they call the principal. I don't care. I don't care about none of that. They shouldn't have done it. They shouldn't have, like, for real. Like, for real. For real. Like, explosive. And I just want them to really get their emotions, because we know what it's like when adults are not emotionally intelligent and they don't get their emotions in check. We know the outcome, and I don't want the outcome for these beautiful boys and girls of African descent. That's it. That's all. This is Lenice, the Remix Coach. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Remember, you are a star. Don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Till next time. Peace.